Globally, there is over $1 trillion worth of food waste that goes into landfills.
The thing is, the food and fast-moving consumer goods industry generates massive amounts of this kind of waste.
So now it's a car wash. What was it before? What was the initial product?
It was a shampoo.
What you just start collecting from the road? Or like, how was the beginning?
Recova has the organic aspect. It has an app. So it tells you that it's not that people don't want to do the right thing. It's that we need to bridge that gap, enable them to do the right thing. It's not about the products. It is about the fact that it is possible. People talk sustainability, people talk this, people talk that, but then they just want the surfacey things and they forget where the real problem is.
Welcome back to Episode Up. Today I have a little celebration of the milestone. Today is 10th episode. I'm looking forward to record more interviews, visit more companies, and to find out and learn about UAE business environment. Today we're visiting Ehfaaz. They are recycling center focusing on organic waste. For example, they processing food waste to compost, expired beverages to ethanol, and cosmetic products to car wash. So looking forward to find out and do the tour. Let's check it out. Hey gentlemen.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Evan. How are you?
I'm good, yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
You know the drill. I'm here to find out what you guys working on. What's the business insights, have a tour. Would love to find out more.
Of course, you're welcome, and we're happy to show you around.
Yeah.
But first, we need to suit up because we're going to go into the warehouse. Safety first, of course. So we're going to put our vest and our personal protective equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do.
So welcome to our warehouse. This is the loading area. Materials will come in from outside and then we will offload them for temporary storage before we do the actual processing. On this side, this is where we have the weighing scale. It helps us to take all the weights of materials that are coming in and then the materials that are going out to be able to share accurate reports at the end of the day.
So in general, what do you receive, let's say? What's the main common materials that you use?
We receive combination of food materials, consumer goods, non-hazardous healthcare and pharmaceutical products, some fabric and textile, the normal plastic, paper, aluminium and other packaging materials. They come in different sizes and shapes. Sometimes they come in pallets, sometimes they come in drums, sometimes they come in IBC tanks. So our role is to make sure we get the actual contents. So recycle the packaging before we reach the actual contents that are there.
Yeah.
And then we send it to the processing areas.
Okay, so the processing, that's where the magic happens.
Yes, the hard work.
The hard work, yeah. I see a lot of machinery here.
So yeah, this is the processing area. When we do the sorting and segregation on the other side, the materials will come into this place and then they will be processed according to the category of it. Each machinery that you see has a particular function and has a particular waste stream that it gets processed. So for example, this is where the organic composting happens. So it's like our mechanical stomach. You put in organic materials, there is a heat between 180 degrees to 200, it gets converted into compost within 24 hours.
Let's say, what do you put here?
So this is where all the food materials goes in, and organic materials. So think of all the chocolates, the biscuits, poultry products, fruits and vegetables, tobacco, some food supplements, and gym steroids, they all go in here, and then within 24 hours they get converted into compost.
A little bit sad to know that chocolate and cookies going there.
Everything. Your canned foods, the tuna, sardines, you name them
so
all.
So what, you crushing, you boiling, what?
So, like I said earlier, the mechanism is like our stomach.
Yeah.
So you put in the materials inside. You put heat of 180 degrees to 200, and with enzymes, it helps break it down into the smaller components. And within 24 hours, it gets converted into the fertilizer or the compost that we desired it to be.
Okay. What other equipment are?
So you will ask, what happens to the consumer goods? So your body wash, your shampoo, your shower gel. This is a German technology that you put in the components inside, and then it separates the liquid from the actual packaging. The packaging can be PET plastic, aluminum cans, or Tetra Pak. So any form of packaging, you put it in, the machine has the capability of separating the liquid as well as the packaging separately.
Okay. So you don't even fill up, empty the tank, you just put everything inside?
No. Efficiency. You're talking about tens of thousands of liters per hour.
Yeah.
So if you're using humans to
So
manually
open
every
yeah.
plastic bottle, that's going to take you ages.
Okay.
This is why technology is important, and machinery like this can dramatically increase your speed and efficiency.
All right. So, okay, 100 shampoo bottles going in one end. What's happening?
So it gets put in one end, the machine does this thing, right? Minimal noise pollution, by the way, and it separates the liquid from the packaging, as he said, whatever kind of packaging it ends up being, so that you, at the end of the day, have, for example, PET that can go and be washed and then end up somewhere else for further processing. Then the liquid is what we're fundamentally interested in, and we can convert it, depending on what kind of liquid it is, into different types of materials.
So like you see the IBC tank there, that's where the liquid goes in, and then it's ready for as a raw material for producing the car wash shampoo or the degreaser or the surface disinfectant that we are producing as the end of the life cycle of the product. So to make sure that, number one, like I said earlier, they do not end up where they're not supposed to be. And to talk about efficiency, we have the capability to do 140-foot trailer a day. So if you have a 140-foot...
What would be the number of bottles?
That will be, it does 1,500 ml liter bottle an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay. And what, this is other joint, same machinery? Or?
So the next machine is, what if you have the packaging in form of glass? So think of your glass, the perfumes that are made in glass containers, the peanut butter that are in jar, or the glass bottle for our water. The same thing, the same mechanism, it's gonna crush the glass, separate the actual packaging. If it has label, yeah.
Go.
So this is where you do the inputs.
Yeah.
You put the components inside, and then the machine internally will crush it, so that at the end of the day you will have the liquid separately as well as the crushed glass, and then the crushed glass will be used by manufacturers as a raw material when they're making new glass products. It has the functionality to also separate the labels. Remember, like all this packaging, they come with a plastic label.
Like a plastic,
Sometimes it has a metallic cap or a plastic cap. So the same thing, you will be able to get 100% crushed glass that is pure and clean, and it's ready for use to form that circularity that we're talking about, going back into the ecosystem at the end of the day.
So you get liquid, you get glass, you get some plastic elements separated.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I see a coffee bags as well, or it looks like a coffee.
Yes.
You are not roastery, no?
We are not roastery.
You're not roasting that coffee.
It's tea, actually.
How is the tea?
Yeah.
So, for example,
This is great for composting.
So you got tea, you know, in this kind of triangle packaging.
This is loose tea,
Okay.
thankfully,
Okay.
which makes it a lot easier. But yes, sure, we can process the ones in the tea bags.
Yeah, tea
as
bags,
well.
yeah, exactly.
But because it's loose, it's a lot easier to get to the actual
Okay, so what do you do with that?
granules. This is perfect for going into the composting mixture that he talked about doing the food waste.
So all this will be loaded back to that.
This is a single stream. You need to mix, let's say, vegetables with fruits and things like that to make the right composition for the compost, depending on what it is that you want to do with it.
Yeah.
If you want to use it in the Dubai Garden Center for, potted plants, it has to be extremely high quality nutrients. If you just need a soil filler or any other kind of grade, then the composition will change.
Why packaging on material like this comes at your warehouse? Why is it here in the first place?
If it doesn't come to us, where does it end up? That's the question. Most likely landfills, incinerators. This is not good. So we're happy to take this. We're purely a B2B business. So we work with the manufacturers of this kind of product, the transporters and the warehouse logistics types of companies, including the distributors and the traders as well, to make sure that across the value chain, we're able to divert these products away from landfills into our warehouse.
What's wrong with it?
There can be a lot of things. One, it could have just been misproduced, for example, right? It could have been expired. Maybe it was sitting on the shelf for too long, or even in storage. Maybe there was a temperature difference in the warehouse. Maybe there was some kind of contamination. Maybe it was damaged during transportation. So many different maybes. Our job is to give that peace of mind to the customers that whatever the reason for you bringing it to us, we're going to treat it right. The thing is, the food and fast-moving consumer goods industry generates massive amounts of this kind of waste. We're glad to be a solution or an outlet for them to make sure that in spite of that, right, we know these things can happen, we are able to extend the life of these products somehow.
But did you ever receive, I don't know, chocolate that it was not part of the brand, but somehow somebody made it? Or
we're part of an organization called the Gulf Brand Protection Group, and we know the authorities do a lot of raids to confiscate all sorts of material. For us, as an outlet for these things, we try not to, poke too much as to the why, but sure, of course, we're part of these associations. We're working with Dubai municipality and so on. So we do receive these types of bad things.
What was the, biggest surprise for you guys once you received something like, oh, never got that before?
We've received at 6:30 p.m. on a Friday, we got a truck of meat, premium quality steaks, but there was some kind of contamination, and how we had to work through the weekend to make sure that we sorted it out. And of course, it included packaging. So many different stories like that. We found interesting, rodents in materials. Funny enough, you would think that, because we're B2B, that you would get good materials, but we opened it and, there was a rodent in the shipment, and that was like, whoa. So things like that.
So let's say here, what is inside?
This is conditioner.
Conditioner.
Yes, exactly.
So separated from the packaging?
Separated from the packaging, now ready to get produced into a degreaser. A degreaser can be used by any warehouse to clean any oil spills or any other spillage that they have in their own facility, made from a sustainable way of doing things.
So what's the process then after that? You have a container, then what, you boiling? How do you making the degreaser?
So that's when we put it in the IBC tanks, it goes into the chemical processes that we have. That's why we're actually in Dubai Science Park. We're all surrounded by labs, healthcare facilities, and environmental regulatory bodies to make sure that whatever we are doing is as per the standards and a compliant manner. So we work with scientists, internal R&D team, external capabilities to make sure that whatever we produce is in line with the authorities.
In this case, somebody else processing it.
So here we do the processing, and then we have a dedicated facility through a third party that we do the production of the products.
This is where you get all those emails.
Let's say, so what kind of job admins happening here?
So we like to keep the core team here. You have customer facing, marketing, sales, operations.
Sorry, why do you need to do marketing?
It's more about getting the message out there. One of the most important problems with this whole circularity, recycling, sustainability thing is, one, for better or for worse, there's lack of information out there, there's misinformation out there. We're doing the work, and it's important to communicate it to our stakeholders, both the customers as well as the wider community. So we need specialists in that.
So let's say brand don't know you. Let's say big brand don't know you. What they do when they have all this waste?
So we approach them. Like we were saying downstairs, we are looking to go to the source. What we don't realize is 50 to 70% of the waste produced in this sector is as a result of what I was mentioning. Unsold products, expired, damaged, obsolete, misproduced. Half of that ends up in landfills, and that's what we're trying to capture. That's what Ehfaaz truly is, right? That's why we're going to the heart of it.
I think there are a lot of companies, a lot of researchers working, create the product, how to innovate, how to create, but maybe not enough people working on how to then recycle that product.
Yes.
Okay, this is the bottle design, but in case it's gonna something happen wrong, how somebody gonna recycle it?
Exactly.
Yeah?
This is the approach before, what is termed the linear economy. You take, you make, you use, and then you dispose. And that's where the waste management sector comes in. Decades ago, okay, sure, put it in the landfill, but we're out of space, right? In many countries, or the pollution is hurting our children, ourselves, and so on. And that's where that whole, let us see how we can keep these resources in circulation for as long as possible. Maybe we need to rethink, that jacket, with the studs on the shoulder, and those fancy bottles that we're creating that look beautiful, but at the end of the day, they just don't biodegrade in any way, or they take too long. Our approach is to show that, hey, these things, that's really not the end of their life. You can give them that second chance, that second life, and make them useful for other industries. We take, like Mohammed was explaining, you take the food waste, even things that you didn't think, you could be creative with. We give them that second life, make them, repurpose them into useful materials for other industries. You take shampoo that we were discussing, and body lotions and things like that, and you repurpose them into products that you're seeing on the table.
That's your product, for example.
Yeah, a sample of a product.
Yeah. So now it's a car wash. What was it before? What was the initial product?
It was a shampoo.
Shampoo.
Yeah, and the body. So a combination of shampoo, your shower gel, and anything that has a foam and leather, and then that is meant for consumer, can be mixed together and then make up a product like this. And this, any car wash company or any company that has a fleet of trucks, they can use it and then clean it in a sustainable manner. This was supposed to end up in the landfills, but here it is now as a new product.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody can wash a car with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Check it out. Don't worry, try it on your car and let us know the feedback. But this is a practical example. It's really, so when you look at the way the conversation goes, we think we have to get like moonshots. We have to go and get billions of dollars and go to space and back in order to save the planet or to do our part. No, it's not about the products. It is about the fact that it is possible that you as an individual or we as a startup, right, we can propose and come up with solutions like this that are simple, practical, and useful today. Not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now, right now. If you just make sure that, for example, shampoos are never sent to landfill again. Yeah. You make a small dent, and then again and again and again. With
I think what's really important when we listen for all this communication, recycling, upcycling, and everything, it's really, like, for me, it's so powerful to see what's happened after, Like, we did that one episode about plastic bottles, and we can see and touch a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Now you guys as well have something actual product that I can relate to. I'm like, okay, car shampoo. Okay, it looks like, I have a car, I can use it, yeah? By the way, what is this?
That's a surface disinfectant for cleaning any surface, whether it's hard or soft. So you can just spray it on the table.
To your right. Just 1 or 2 puffs.
Yeah.
We have a lot. We have a lot.
Just see what it smells like. If don't worry, it's perfectly safe.
Yeah. We can wash our camera lenses with that.
Yeah. Do you recognize the scent?
Yeah, it smells good. Obviously,
Smells
the
like
table was
something
clean
familiar.
already.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but okay.
Does it smell like something familiar though?
I don't know. It smells like for me, to be honest, everything what smells good for me is like smells like perfume.
Exactly. So this is a body splash or body mist that most of manufacturers are making to make sure that we have a good smell when we go out.
Okay.
And the same thing, same concept. It's expired or near expiry. We take it and then we convert it into a multi-surface disinfectant. It's capable of cleaning up to 99% of the germs, similar to what other cleaners you can find outside. But the same thing also made from items that are destined for landfills.
Do you guys do hand sanitizers?
The raw material can be used as a hand sanitizer. The ethanol that we're extracting, yes.
Okay. So we have car wash, we have sanitizers, surface sanitizer. What else?
We have compost out there. We will show you. So yeah.
All right. So then farmers just put on the...
Exactly. So a farmer, landscaping companies, or any other companies that have greenery vegetations, they can use it. Like we mentioned earlier, the input will actually determine your output. So we have a wide range of products from 100% premium compost all the way to soil enhancer or a soil conditioner. Sometimes you need to mix it up to get a proper... I like to give the example of humans. Like we can go and eat all the fast food that we want, but at the end of the day, you're just gonna bloat and do whatever is not necessary. But you can choose the healthier options. So the same thing, there are other options out there, but this is more organic, coming from organic products. So that circularity that we're talking about, going back to nature for solutions that are there millions of years ago.
And I noticed, like on every product, there's a brand, Recova. How to say it?
Recova.
Recova.
It's the brand name that we're experimenting with for the organic part of our products. Mohammed will talk about a little bit more, but the point is, when we push this out to market, we want it to be as recognizable as possible. We want it to represent all the ideas and the intentions behind this. It's not just about money. It's about proving again that you can do this. So Recova has the organic aspect. It has an app as well that is actually available, predominantly B2B, but we've had to accept that the education component, that awareness component has to go all the way to the end users that ate those sausages and that chocolate and the tea, to tell them, okay, here's what we did with the byproducts of the things that you...
Most of the recycling apps that you see in the market, they will only go and take the dry recyclables. So for example, at home you segregate your paper, you segregate your aluminum cans or plastic bottles. Those are the solutions. But that's just small fraction of what you guys generate at home. Most of the waste that is at home, it's food related. Yeah. So that's why the introduction of Recova is going to help with the education. So we will be able to come to your house, take your food waste, take your recyclables as well. So all
not
in one.
Not just, those dry, empty plastic bottles. Sure. There are many solutions out there. But organic, that's...
Okay, so quickly explain what I'm looking at. Okay, we have an app as a...
So it's a soft launch now. What we're trying to do is to get an idea of and the reaction from the markets. Are they actually ready to start doing this sorting and segregation at home? So this is the app. You can download it from any of the things. So we have different models of subscription. Some people want to do a daily collection. Some people want to do like 4 or 3 times collection in a year. So we give them the options to select that based on the particular particular area that they are in, and then we will come on a scheduled date to come and pick up the materials.
Okay, let's say I'm subscribing for one-time collection. I want to come on Friday, 17th, yeah? What are you guys gonna collect? What I need to...
Your recyclables. So anything that is recyclable in your household, we will be able to take it. Aluminum cans, glass bottles, paper, food waste that you segregate, not mixed with other materials, and then we will be able to come and pick it up at the same time.
Okay. I think the food waste, is it common? The household?
Not common, so because the education and it's not there, and it's always mixed with tissues, with cutleries, with other things. So what we're trying to do now is to educate people. You can actually do, if you're able to sort your plastics and aluminum cans, you can also sort the food. We can do it through education by giving them a dedicated container or some packaging that is going to be easier to handle. And then when the time is right, we'll come and do the collections.
It should be education.
Educate. So for the time being,
to make it easier.
For the time being, this app, it's predominantly working with our business partners. So they added it as a benefit to their own employees. So if you're an employee of them, they're doing the recycling, the bulk of items, and then they want to extend this opportunity, to come and to your homes.
Given the example of the tea, for example, that you saw, that same tea manufacturer can go all the way into the homes of their own end users and take back those leftovers or the expired ones and so on and so forth to close the loop.
With the help of the app.
So it becomes as an employee benefit that they give to them. And you as an individual, you can feel good also. This is my contribution. And we're able to send you reports. Okay, Mr. Evan, in so period of time, you give us this material and this is the categorization of it.
So for example, the brand, where is it in the shops? Is it only online shop? What is it?
Again, B2B. You're going to have them, say the car wash, for example. The consumer, I can give you a little sample, but it's going to end up in the car wash, with the car wash companies. Services, You go to Al-Quoz or some places in Sharjah where they wash trucks, big trucks, and things like that. Think about it from a volume perspective. Again, we get massive amounts of these things. That means we are able to make massive amounts of the end products. It doesn't make sense to go, one by one. No, we need to make sure that it is out there with the companies that actually can absorb those big volumes.
Why do you need brand? I mean, you bring them in containers.
For registration with authority, it's a requirement. So we are complying to the requirements of the authorities.
And communication. So regulation requirements and communication. It's one piece that's missing. Everything these days ends up as 140 characters on social media, and we think we're doing justice to such a complex issue. We're trying to, bring a different way to communicate the real thing without necessarily maybe a bit more than 140 characters, just to give it, to be fair to the nuance of the issues that we're addressing.
So another thing that we do in terms of circularity is upcycling, which is the opposite of recycling, as most people call it. So some of the items, they cannot be recycled. Technically, it can be recycled, but it depends on how much resources you put into in terms of technology, resources, and all other aspects to take into consideration. So we do upcycling. So we take other materials and collaborate with interior design companies, creative minds like artists, painters, to come up with a product or an art piece that they can use it on other places for decoration.
Give me an example.
Example here is our Ehfaaz airline. So during the pandemic, one of the largest Middle Eastern airlines decided to convert all their old aircrafts into a cargo plane to ship products outside. So they gave us 1,000 pieces of the seat to recycle. And then we recycled some of it, and with their blessing, we decided to convert some of the seats into an airline here, because people were missing travel during COVID times.
Makes sense, yeah. So recycling, it means you break down, separate pieces.
You extract
And
aluminium,
upcycling, you actually...
turn it into something else because it gets challenging to actually do the recycling. I can give you examples. So there's a painter that is taking all these makeups that we take in, so your nail polish, your foundations, and then they're making it as a substitute for paint. Instead of using or going to a supermarket or any other place to buy a paint, they will use those type of activities to do the paintings.
All right, guys, thanks for the tour.
It's our pleasure. This is what it is, and this is where the journey is at the moment. And it's great to have you, tour the place.
Yeah, I just want to circle a little bit back to the beginning to understand, like, how did the company started? Like, what was the idea?
Long story short, it's about linking internal business needs with external capabilities. Mohammed, my business partner, and I have been here each 15 plus years. We studied here, we did work. From my side, I went into the corporate world with FMCG. So I saw the volume of production of these things. And I also saw how they've struggled to find solutions, external solutions for managing their waste. In Europe, in America, they have to comply with all these requirements. When they come to this region, the MEA region, not just the Middle East and North Africa region, at that time, there was a bit of a challenge. They need requirements, strict requirements and high regulations, and there weren't enough solutions that were suitable for them. Fast forward, on the other side, Mohammed went into actually the waste management industry. And he saw the volume of waste, that was going to landfill, that was being collected by his previous company. And kids coming from Africa, where these concepts, are just not as mainstream. Things that go into landfill just don't go into landfill. We grew up learning about reuse, even though the term, we didn't know what it was. When your shirt gets torn, you go to the tailor to, fix it. You don't just throw it away. It wasn't this fast fashion culture at the time. It was also, there was a lot of giving and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, one of the cons of globalization is that, you overproduce, you overconsume, and then at the end of the day, you have massive landfills. When you combine these two angles, we saw an opportunity. We felt we had enough of the experience and the know-how. We felt gratitude, for the UAE specifically accommodating us and making our dreams come true. We saw that we could actually do something about the problems that was being faced.
So the beginning, like, I know you don't have facilities, you don't have anything. Well, you just start collecting from the road, or like, how was the beginning? Like, the space, investment, everything. That's what's interesting.
It was an interesting period, per se, and want to tell
both smiling
more stories. Literally, in the beginning, we started working with smaller aggregators, companies that, or like individuals, sometimes that they go to our offices or homes to collect these recyclables and start bringing it to facilities like ours to do the processing. So from the beginning, we knew that the challenge will be to come up with a actionable solution or something that is going to be doable. Like I was mentioning to you earlier, in my experience, I lost businesses where I went to the company and then they'll be like, no, we're going to send it to Europe because there's no capability here. And the same thing that Ali is talking about, they will make a decision, okay, we scout around the region and we couldn't find anything, and then let's just re-export it. Sometimes it doesn't even go to Europe, it goes to least developing countries, and then it ends up where it's not supposed to be. So from the beginning, we knew we had to come up with something that is going to be, that's going to work out. Otherwise, we will join the others in terms of doing what is not the right thing to do. So we started taking this materials from aggregators. Then the solution of the composting become like a buzz thing in the sector, because no one heard of something composting in 24 hours. It's like, okay, let us give it a trial. The businesses that we started with, they actually started to give us cartons. From then they started believing in us, like we can actually do the job. Then it becomes pallets, then it becomes trucks, then it becomes norm at the end of the day.
I remember when we were driving across Dubai, knocking on doors, the normal thing with our little pamphlets, and till today, by the way, one surprising thing. One of the most important ways we actually get business, and this is after 200 plus businesses that we work with today. We don't even tell them about recycling and circular economy and sustainability. We say, come, let's save you money. Really? Why are you letting all these things expire and you're keeping them in warehouses and you just forget about them? Give it to us, we'll do the right things with them, and in the process, you save yourself some money.
So can you explain how the business model works? Like where the company is saving money, where are you making money?
These companies, they know also that it takes time and resources to keep the lights on, to process these things, to get the machinery that we have, to process and protect their brands. So they're more than happy to pay. At market rates, of course, there's competition and all that. But we're not focused on that, because as we close the loop as well, and we're able to extract valuables out of the resources, we're then able to make additional revenue.
What's your ideal brand or size of the company?
A manufacturer of a product.
Okay.
I see a water bottle here. It could be, a juice maker or a chocolate maker or a household consumer goods maker.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. We have capability to process over 20 different waste streams today.
Okay.
So from the bottle of water all the way to very soon clothes even. Okay. So if you take any of these companies and you engage with them, they give you their leftovers. Their job is to sell you the products, right? They invest in R&D, their own sales, their own marketing, their own supply chain, and so on and so forth, and they get the products to the consumer. At best, then the responsibility ends up with the storekeeper or the distributor, and then that's it. This is where we come in after that.
So then, obviously, you collect, process in the proper way, because we spoke about, you showed us the products itself.
The end result of all that effort.
So that's another stream of business, how that generates income?
There are different, let's call it revenue streams that you can develop, and we continuously develop more. One that I think he started to touch upon a little bit, for us, looking at it more, holistically, what really kind of drives us, in continuation of that effort to give transparency and traceability. When you take the massive volumes that we're talking about, it's very, very important to give visibility to the customers in terms of what kind of products are you actually making. No. You, the manufacturer of the products, how much cardboard, how much plastic, how much aluminum, and so on is actually in the products. So you would be surprised how useful that piece of information is for them. Okay. Then when you do that, that's called a segregation report. When you do that and you say, this is how much organic material is in your products, then you go and say, okay, by giving us these products, instead of sending it to the landfill, which again is one of the major sources of greenhouse gas emissions, or by not sending it to an incinerator and burning it and hurting the air more, this is the good that you have done. That's what an impact report kind of says in general. From a B2B point of view, this has never been done.
Is there a percentage, like how much these products go to the landfill? Let's say UAE scale?
Globally, there is over $1 trillion worth of food waste that goes into landfills. In UAE, I think it's about almost 2 kilograms per day,
person.
per person of food. Again, you can break this down on a global level, regional. When you go global, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars worth of waste. You can go all the way down. There's the Dubai Statistics Center has good statistics, usually end user or consumer type of numbers. They fluctuate. UAE is great when it comes to that compared to maybe the rest of the region where things are still opaque. And it's through efforts like ours that that transparency will grow, and then you get better numbers.
Sorry, the recycling rate as per the records in UAE is close to 25% of the actual waste that we are generating. So 25% of the waste that we are generating in Dubai gets recycled. So, and then they are working towards 75% diversion or recycling per se in terms of the waste that they are generating. One caveat is like the waste that we are generating actually does not get accounted into what Dubai municipality or the other authorities are taking into consideration, because the waste that gets into the landfill is typically the waste that you and I generate in our homes, in the hotels, or in the restaurants. So this falls more into industrial waste. And in terms of our contribution, I think since we started, over 9 million kg of materials were diverted from the landfills.
Thanks to our efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what does that translate into?
Almost 29,000 kg of CO2 emissions that gets prevented to the atmosphere.
So break it down. You divert the waste away from landfill. You help lower the emissions that go into the air, and you create business opportunities. What can be better than that?
What would be the best? What is the best, let's say, product that you receive that is maybe easiest to recycle and, let's say, most profitable? If you would choose one, you're like, I will, I know it's not going to happen, but like ideally we would like to receive this because it's X, Y, Z.
I think in terms of
Easy to work
would be cartons, paper and cartons, because we added to our mixture of composting activities. So if like you receive, like you can keep them anywhere, and they're not bulky enough if you have the capability of flattening them or baling them. So, and then at the end of the day, they also had a second-hand value per se, compared to others, like you can give it to a paper mill at the end of the day to complete the circularity process in the ecosystem. So I think that could fall into one of the categories.
You know why we're giggling? So he's spot on, by the way. The thing is, it's easier to do the job downstairs than to do the job upstairs. It's easier to actually do the recycling and the processing and all these things than to run a business.
Speaking, let's say, about challenges, we spoke a little bit about education. You mentioned, guys, that we need to invest a lot in education. What's the biggest challenge right now in the business?
You would think that after 4 years and all the numbers that we're sharing, that it would still be easy. It's gotten a lot easier, but you'd be surprised the misinformation that's out there, or the preconceived notions that people have in terms of what it takes. You'd be surprised how many people call us and tell us we just want scrapping. People talk sustainability, people talk this, people talk that, but then they just want the surfacey things, and they forget where the real problem is. So educating or creating awareness in terms of scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, and the solutions that are out there already, not just ours, by the way. There's a lady making soap out of camel milk. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. But people only look at it from, okay, my single-use plastic bottle, or the plastic straw, and things like that. Whereas the problem is much bigger and much deeper elsewhere, and we need to maybe talk about that a lot more. There's an experiment we started this year. In January, we launched the Circular Chronicle. It's a newsletter. We send it to our customer base through email, and it's on LinkedIn as well. In maybe 6 weeks, less than 8 weeks for sure, We've amassed almost 1,000 subscribers. No?
Okay.
So sure, you have existing customers of ours. We ask them to subscribe to the newsletter. They do. But then majority of it, Mary keeps track of it, majority of it is new people that are finding it out for the first time. What is the Circular Chronicle? We're just trying to inform. We do articles about, what the real circular economy world is like and what it is that we're trying to do, give that good piece of information to the people that actually want it, and they're guzzling it up.
So your business is B2B.
Yes.
And you guys mentioning a lot about need to educate public. Why do you need to educate public households if you're dealing with a B2B?
The customer, the consumer, is the most powerful entity in the whole chain. When you demand sustainable products from your companies that you're loyal to, then they will give you sustainable products.
If consumers gonna start demanding,
the consumer is king.
Yeah.
So if you are not armed and aware, how are you going to tell them what you need?
Can we speak a little bit about the future? Like, how do you see this industry in the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years? Like, as we all know, there's like recycling, upcycling, circular economy is very popular now. Keyword. It's like trend, and then, like you said, somebody is just talking, somebody is doing. But how do you see in the next 2 to 5 years this industry?
Well, starting locally, we have seen like the changes and the mindset changes in terms of people from the top all the way to people at the bottom. So year of sustainability, for example, 2023 is declared for that. There is COP coming up in UAE. The last one happened in Egypt, which is particularly within the same region. We have seen many things, initiatives coming up in terms of Dubai Industrial Strategy, where they want to make sure that industries have a platform to come and do things in a sustainable manner. We have seen what Saudi is doing with NEOM project, and Qatar is also investing in a lot of this kind of things. So the momentum is going high, and then you can see the optimism in terms of where it's going to end up with. And the critical thing is that awareness that we're talking about, that knowledge. Lots of universities and academia making research and coming up with solutions. So there are solutions out there, whether they're from the multinationals or from the SMEs. It's just time to collaborate together, embrace whatever it is that it is. Like, we don't need to wait forever to make these solutions into practice. So the industry is maturing. Now there is a focus on it in terms of what we can get. There's a pressure from financing also, lots of green bonds and investing coming from that aspect of the system. So we will see it actually developing further and further. Our only hope is let it be substantive at the end of the day. All these gimmicky things that are there, we hope we will not be able to see them, and people will be able to tell that, okay, this is accurate and this is not accurate.
What do you mean by gimmicky things?
Lot of solutions are out there because the social media is a powerful thing, but unfortunately it's used also to transform some, there's lots of misinformation there, so people can go and
PR.
All this kind of things. Anyone can just come and put sustainability on a product, but how sustainable is it actually?
It's a good topic what you mentioned. Like, a lot of brands now putting the disclaimers, claiming we are recycling, we are sustainable. What is the way to kind of understand if they really do that, or just like talking, like do the greenwashing? What's your thought?
I'll give you one example. Like we have the capability here to kind of test this kind of things. Many companies will come saying that they have disposable packaging materials that is compostable. And then we have a technology here that converts any organic materials or anything that can be compostable in 24 hours or biodegradable. So we put it in the machine and voila, 28 hours, 48 hours, it's not biodegradable. And then we go back to them, it's like, okay, this is the result that we have tested. what is your feedback on that? Why are you saying, where do you come up with the solutions like that? So if we have setups like this, we will be able to separate all this kind of
Just to add to that a little bit, what we have seen is the companies that work with us are the ones that are actually doing as well from their from their point of view. And to be fair, there are many companies out there that have good intentions that are actually doing or that are in the process of doing. And that's why we partner so well and majority.
even with competition, yeah.
Yes. Now, they are the same kinds of companies that come to us and say, can you vet this for us? You know, can you try to compost or biodegrade this kind of packaging, and let's see it practically, and so on and so forth. So in every cycle, there's the early adopters, and then there are the laggards, right? You want to shorten that life cycle. And today, what we're seeing is that there are a lot of the early adopters, and even the ones in the middle are dying for information, you know, so that they can make up their minds. And the loop will be closed at the end of the day. We just hope that we can do it in time to make sure that, you know, landfills are a thing of the past and we save the climate and all that.
All right, sounds good.
Another one example is we just heard like municipalities converting one of the old landfills into a park. So this kind of things, we only see them in places like Singapore or Korea, where
How
they have
cool is that?
technology. But yeah, recently one of the old landfills will be converted into a park.
So where all of this material will go?
So they don't want it to go to
want it to
landfill. Again, if you see stuff like this, it means that they have figured out how to, first of all, they've put measures in place to make sure that it doesn't continue to go into the landfill, i.e., I think that is a C&D landfill.
Yeah.
So construction and demolition waste. So there are enough solutions out there that you don't need to send it to landfill. You can give it to companies that will, you know, crush the process it, basically. So now it gets turned into a park. And I'm looking forward to checking it out when it's ready.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, Dubai is good, really. To add to the future conversation down the road with the measures that are already being taken, Dubai is fine. It will trickle down to the other countries in the region as well. And then before you know it, we are on par with Europe and America. So far, I think Europe is of course leading. That's fine, but Dubai, you know, you can't bet against Dubai when it comes to anything.
It's coming.
It's coming. We can see it. We're always engaged in conversations with the authorities, so we have that understanding that they are actually trying to do something.
So for the closing line, what would you suggest for the manufacturers, for the producers, let's say your future clients, how they should look at all this process, how they should put math together?
The thing is to make it like look into it. Like we come across situations where it's not a priority anymore. So I think they should take sustainability and circularity as important as they have a dedicated team for operations, supply chain, and marketing. It should be incorporated into the main business system and functional departments that they have. We come across businesses where they give us business, but it's like lower level or sometimes even third party making the decisions. What they need to understand is like it's their brand at the end of the day, and whatever happens to it, they are the ones who are going to be the ones responsible for it at the end of the day. So our hope is like they will take it into consideration, integrate it into the main business functions, and then give it the priority that it deserves at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Okay. We are a circular economy startup committed to closed loop recycling. We're committed to closing many loops. And we invite all these stakeholders to join us, to connect with us, to find out all the different possibilities that we have for them. It's a mission to give used resources a new life, and everybody is welcome on that journey.
All right, sounds good. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing, thanks for the tour.
Pleasure.
And yeah, I'm looking forward your business going.
Good. Look forward to that as well.